Well, hello, ladies and gents. Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, and I got another A.M.A. for you today. This one is all about cardio, how much, how often, what kinds. But before we dive into that, let's roll the intro. And we're back. All right, so today's question is brought to us from Samantha. And Samantha asks, what are the best ways to incorporate cardio during different stages? Building stages, cutting stages, maintenance stages, etc., and how much? All right, let's dive into this. Cardiovascular activity is one of those things that people tend to just automatically associate with weight loss. So it's like, you get on a diet, you want to lose some weight, boom, let's do cardio. And that's not a really good way to look at cardio. Cardio is an activity that basically gets your heart rate up, gets your cardiovascular health functioning at a higher rate. And it can be associated with fat loss, but you want to be strategic in how you implement it. So there's cutting phases like she's asking. That's typically when you would increase your cardio. There's building phases and there's maintenance phases. If you're trying to build as much muscle as possible, you don't want to be doing so much cardio that you are not really able to get into a caloric surplus and therefore have the fuel coming in a surplus to provide the building blocks necessary to build more lean tissue. At the same time, you don't want to do zero cardio during a building phase, and here's why. Some people subscribe to the philosophy that, hey, I'm in a bulking phase, let's not do any cardio. Cardio is for cutting only, and let's never jump on the treadmill or anything like that. What happens is they get sloppy, they get fat, and they have zero cardiovascular health, and they get winded really easy. Their main goal may be to build muscle, but if you're jumping up under a bar to do a set of 8 reps on squat and you get winded after 4 reps because your cardiovascular health sucks, then you're not going to be able to make the most in your building phase from a strength-based standpoint because you simply can't get through the set. So I always recommend doing enough cardio in your building phases that your cardiovascular health is upregulated and functioning at a healthy rate so that you can perform optimally in your heavy lifts. Don't feel like you have to do cardio every single day during a building phase, but do enough to simply maintain good cardiovascular health and get through a set of heavy lifts without getting super winded. Personally, I do a run every single day. I run at least a mile every single day. I'll be first to tell you that that's probably not optimal from a maximizing my building standpoint. I don't do it for that reason. I do it because I committed to it and because I kind of like it. It gives me just a moment to escape from the normal, functions of the day, go for a run out in the trails, and it's just good. I like it. It's like my meditation time. If I wasn't doing that, what I would probably recommend doing is just doing something that's fun, that you enjoy, that gets your heart rate up, gets things moving, once, twice, maybe 3 times a week. You don't need to be doing a whole bunch of cardio in a building phase. Or a maintenance phase, honestly. Like in a maintenance phase and a building phase, the main thing with cardio is to do something that triggers your cardiovascular health and gets that functioning properly, but is enjoyable. It is fun. You don't want to be a slave to the Stairmaster and just feel miserable in your cardio in a building or maintenance phase, because most of your energy and your priority should be in the resistance training aspect of it. Like, you want to be focusing on building as much muscle as possible. You're not going to accomplish that if you're a slave to the treadmill every single day. Now, in a cutting phase, there will likely be more cardio. Not so much so that you come out of the gates, guns blazing, 7 days a week of cardio for an hour a day until the end of your cut. That's not going to do yourself any favor. And here's why. Your body is going to respond to different stimuli you subject it to. It's going to respond to the stimulus of decreasing calories. It's going to respond to the stimulus of increasing cardio. It's going to respond to all these different stimuli. And you want to treat cardio as like a minimum viable dose. And you want to treat calories as a minimum viable dose. That's why I'm not a huge fan of drastically cutting calories by 500 or 1,000 calories right off the bat. You want to see what your body will respond to with a minimum viable dose standpoint. From a calorie perspective, that allows you to eat more food throughout your cut. From a cardio standpoint, that allows you to not have to be a slave to the treadmill or the Stairmaster, wherever your cardio form is, so you don't have to do it every single day. If you start out doing 7 days a week of cardio in a cut, for one, you're probably going to burn out pretty quickly, but for two, if your body does adapt to that, that just becomes the baseline. And you have to increase beyond that to register any change, any response. So what I always like to recommend people do from a cardio standpoint is almost treat it like an inverse relationship with calories. As calories are gradually going down in a cut, maybe make your cardio gradually go up. Cardio should be viewed as like a trick up your sleeve, so to speak. First and foremost, let your body respond to the manipulations you're making nutritionally. And then, if at any point your body plateaus from the manipulations done, you're not seeing the response that you want, then you can bump up the cardio a little bit. Subject your body to another stimuli that hopefully gets things moving in the right direction. Don't do a whole bunch of cardio right out of the gate, because then there's no trick left up your sleeve to implement. Gradually increase the cardio as you gradually decrease the calories, and kind of have an inverse relationship there. When I'm doing a cut, I like to be incredibly structured in my cardio. My preferred go-to form of cardio in a cut is Stairmaster. I'll do the manual setting. I'll have it set so that it's the same intensity level for the entirety of that Stairmaster session, and I'll start very gradual, like I said, like maybe 10-minute sessions once or twice a week, and then I'll bump that up gradually over time by either increasing the intensity level, the duration, or the frequency of me doing cardio. So at the very end of a cut, I may be doing 20-minute sessions at level 15, 3, 4, 5 times a week. I don't ever really go longer than 20 minutes, though. If you've really structured it properly, you shouldn't have to go any longer than 20 minutes. If your nutrition's in check, if you're manipulating that appropriately, you shouldn't have to be doing hours and hours and hours of cardio, because for one, that's just no fun at all. And for two, it's not really conducive to retaining as much lean muscle mass as possible, and it's honestly just a huge time sink. So I never recommend doing a ton of cardio. There should never be a need to do more than about 20 minutes in a cut of something structured like Stairmaster if you're strategic with everything else up to that point. So that is my take on cardio, when, how often, and kind of how I would adjust it during the different phases: building phase, cutting phase, maintenance phase. So yeah, there's that. Regardless of the phase, cardiovascular health is important. I mean, you want to have a heart healthy. You want to have a healthy, functioning heart that's able to, pump blood throughout your body. You want to be able to have healthy, functioning lungs that are able to fuel, oxygenate all the cells in your body. And you can't do that if you're getting winded by walking up the stairs. So be able to move. My rule of thumb is any human being should be able to just get up and run at least a mile at the drop of a hat without warning, anytime, any day, anywhere, with whatever footwear, no matter what. I feel like any human should be able to say that. So yeah, that's my take on that. Thank you for the question, Samantha. You requested peanut butter bricks. We have a week's worth of peanut butter bricks headed your way. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next time.